Hello, hello, fabulous artisan. I'm AJ the Joy Weaver, and today we are talking about dreams. Woot, woot, woot. So I'm excited to talk about this because I think dreams can sometimes be a little hard to talk about or put our fingers on exactly. And I'm not talking about like sleepy dreams, but like dreams for our lives and who we're becoming and who we want to be. And I'm going to give us some language around this, right? So let's dive in. Okay, first off, dreams and goals can be kind of synonymous, and I'm going to sort of use them interchangeably tonight. Some people say like a dream is a goal, a dream is your goal with your a goal is a dream with its work boots on or something. I think Rachel Hall's got it from somebody else, got it from somebody else. But sometimes goals, people are like, they have to be smart, like time sensitive and measurable and like specific and all these things. But I want to give us permission that we can have dreams that we're not quite sure when then they're going to be yet. And I also want to acknowledge, as of this recording, we're still in a pandemic, right? So things are still high, energy is still intense. Like, it's okay to have dreams that you're not moving on. So let's just start there, right? I want this to be layered with possibilities that we can dream and be like, what would be really neat is this. You know what I would love, or wouldn't it be neat if? So Glennon Doyle, who is an author I absolutely adore, in her book Untamed, wrote, when people get shoulds and like, oh, I should do this and I should do that. She's like, hey, that's like good girl teaching. That's like capitalism teaching, right? That's like supremacy teaching. It's like, here's the only way to do this. The only way it's capable, but your body's like, my body is telling me no, right? I've been seeing that so much lately. But to listen and ask ourselves, and the question she says is, what is the truest, most beautiful story I can tell about a woman or a person who does X, whatever that dream is, right? And then you write out that story and just let your imagination flow. And it's a story, right? It doesn't have to be, here is the most realistic version of XYZ. But oftentimes when we use our imagination to lace into our dreams and our goals, we can give ourselves more wiggle room than what other people could tell us is possible and what can happen. Because sometimes people only know what they know. They don't exactly know your path. And your path might be similar, but different than theirs. Same, but different, but same. And that's okay. Okay, so if you have a pen and paper, you can also pause this. That was my pause space. And grab a pen and paper. Write down some of your dreams. Just possibilities, things of, hey, wouldn't it be neat if, and of course, sure, maybe having like a purple rainbow striped car that's, wrapped with purple glittery goodness, that's an SUV, so you can put all your craft supplies in your mermaid tail. Maybe that's on the dream list. Maybe paying off your debt is on your dream list. Maybe having a child is on your dream list, getting married or traveling to Thailand, or dyeing your hair, right? Little, small, piercing your nose, getting a tattoo, making art. I really want to take a hot chocolate making class. This is totally on my dreams list. So they can be big things and small things. We don't just have to have big life goals on the list, because let's admit it, if the only dreams we have that we talk about are big ass dreams that are just like, okay, this is going to take 3 years of my life. This is going to take 5 years of my life. Cool. Like the rest of my life is scheduled. Solid. That's kind of exhausting. Like, I'm exhausted just like thinking about this. When I look at the things that I still want to do in my life, I'm like, okay, this is a lot. Like, let's just bring it down here. But if we have our possibilities list, they can all live there. And then we can say, oh, hey, what would feel really good right now is exploring this screen or exploring this. Think of it like Hermione's bag, right? If you've ever seen Harry Potter, if you haven't, you're in for a treat. It's fabulous. I'm a Hufflepuff. I know exactly 0 people are surprised about this. She has this magical bag that can store anything. If you've ever read, not Percy Jackson, but the King Chronicles, written by the same person, Rick Riordan, there's like this Egyptian space that you can do a rune, and like, it's like storage space in the void. And so you can store stuff. So I want us to think that like all your dreams are just stored safely here, accessible at any time. No pressure, just anytime accessible for us to explore and dive into. Yeah, no pressure. And we can pull and say, okay, what would feel good this year, this month, this day, this hour, and explore that. So here's some examples, right? So one of my dreams, okay, pause that. So Rachel Hollis has this idea about 10 dreams in 10 years. I talked about it in the red tent or the guild tent that unfortunately Zoom decided not to record. But she has you write out 10 dreams in 10 years by doing like future casting. And then, okay, what 10 dreams are needed to get to where you want to go, right? It's very like goal force oriented. Like if you want to shoot for somewhere and you want to get there, you need to have a plan to get there. And like, yes, totally for that. And I don't think that's always the energy that we need. Sometimes we're just like, hey, it's okay if you rest as well, right? Like we can take naps along the way to our journey. And if you want to hustle grind, go for it, 10 for 10. I just cannot join you right now. And so she has a podcast, the Rachel Hollis podcast. I think it's episode 72. She kind of walks you through that whole process. So just an option if you're like, hey, I'm not quite sure what some of my goals are, go check out that podcast, come back or finish watching this and then go do that. There's also a Future You meditation in our Joy Guild on Facebook and in the Mighty Networks you can listen to and go check out your future self. And it's less pressure. It's just kind of you checking in with your future self, planting dreams, things like that. Okay, so some of my dreams from my possibility shelf is, I like that possibility shelf. I'm writing this down. I love these earrings. It just feels like I'm wearing maracas. It's just lovely. Is write a book and have land that we run an Airbnb out of, and that I have enough, like I have a whole room in the house or a separate building that's dedicated to red tents and retreats and just spaces that women can come and rest and do yoga or paint classes, and have space in the woods where we can do all the dancing in the woods, right? And have our moon circles and just upon all the things, right? That dream. And then like another is that I want to dress in a way that feels like priestessy and embodied. Like I want to dress like my soul. Yeah. Okay. So these are just 3 out of, I've got a big possibility shelf. The dream about me owning land and doing that and running that as a military spouse, this is not really possible right now. But what I can do is what in that dream is accessible now. What in that dream is possible now? What can I pull from that to do and show up in my life? And maybe you're just like, hey, there's nothing, right? Like I want to travel to Italy. Maybe you can make some Italian dishes at your house. Maybe you can start, you remember Up, the movie, and they had the jar and they put in food for Paradise Falls. Not they put in food, they put in money for Paradise Falls. Like there's things you can do to start weaving this in, right? You can buy a ticket, you can start planning your trip. There's like little things. Or maybe you go to an Italian restaurant or you start learning Italian, just like do 5 minutes of Duolingo every day to get your little bit of Italia. You learn how to make pizza. So for me, this looks like, hey, we're going to have red tents here at the house. Occasionally I'm going to do paint classes and different stuff like that. And then now after this weekend, I was like, oh yes, we can do whatever we like, whenever we want to, because we're adults. We're going to have potluck dinners here at the house and then go have forest time after with whoever would like to come and show up, because we can just do that, right? So we can cultivate the essence of the dream in the place where we're at, even if the whole thing can't be taken. So I just don't want us to be like, oh, because it's like you fall off the wagon, you burn up the wagon, you're like, well, that's that. That's not very helpful. And it tells your system too that like, I want to say this right. Not that you're not worth fighting for, but that just like, oh, I can't have that because it's too much, or it's too far away, or it's too expensive, or it's too whatever, right? We have a really good way of chopping ourselves at the knees when something is too underlying, blank, whatever. So what does it look like to bring a little bit of that in? Yeah. Okay. So that's example 1 of like, hey, I have this dream, but it's too big right now. I can't do it right now. What do I do with this if I don't want to just let it sit on the shelf? If I want to feel like I'm moving towards that, right? And like, we always have our eyes on like little listings of like, oh, what if we had land here? Or what if we like, we got things in the back of our mind of like, hey, what if we had space in Thailand or Bali or Ohio, needs to be near an airport. Okay. Second idea, a dream that's possible now, but is like big, right? I'm going to have to come up with a fourth example. Hold on real quick. Okay. So a tangible goal is like, hey, I'm going to accomplish something and that this is doable now, but it's also really big. And I don't know if I have the time or energy for it, but I want to do it, right? Cue example. I can't believe it's here. Somebody sent me a picture of this book on their shelf. And I was just, yeah, I totally cried when I put it on my shelf. I was like, okay. So when this comes around, we have to figure out what we can do. Because if you have 100% battery and like you might not even be operating at 100% energy right now, maybe you're operating at 80%, right? So maybe this book, we're going to use this book as an example, right? Maybe your dream takes like 50% energy, which is a lot. This is maybe not the best metaphor, but work with me here. You'll know what I'm saying. If you have questions, message me because we're in a group together. When you know something takes a lot of time, right? I cannot go after this goal and like do another goal simultaneously. I mean, I can grow my business, like I can do some things, but like I can't go do this and then like go travel the world at the same time. I probably could, right? There could, but just work with me here. So this other goal might not be wise to do side by side with this because then I won't be fully present for either one. Rachel Hollis talks about this in our podcast too, but like making one goal a priority that you're working toward. And people are like, oh my gosh, like I got to write like 5 hours a day. That sounds like hell. No, thank you. This book was written 30 minutes a day, Monday through Friday for 6 months straight. And that was the first draft. And it was terrible because it's a stormy first draft, right? Like there are first drafts for a reason. This is like the 15th draft, if we're honest. And like it went to beta readers and like I had to set up a system so that I didn't get overwhelmed and I still got overwhelmed, right? Sometimes our best laid plans for our goals and dreams just like all over the place. Like they don't always work out because if it's the first time we're doing something, it's the first time we're doing something we don't always know how it works. We're going to mess up. We're going to screw up. It's part of life. Except keep trying and keep walking forward, right? So there's things I've learned from doing this stream that like next time, when I write a book next, we'll see. There are things I'm going to avoid. There are things I'm going to do very differently. And there are things I'm going to do like exactly the same, right? And so with that in mind, if you have a tangible goal of like, hey, I want to get a new job in the next 6 months. I want to get a car. I want to pay off my bills. I want to, coming up with a blank, but fill in the blank, right? What do you need to let go of to make this a reality? What do you need to bring into your life to make this a reality? This book would not be a reality now had it not been for my SE therapist and my business coach and Jer. But like, those three definitely helped me keep staying on this path of getting this done, right? And like beta readers, like there's a lot of people involved, but I had to call all of that in and be like, okay, we need support as we're processing this because like I had a lot of stuff come up. When we're going after dreams, there's limiting beliefs, right? Like the coffee filter of how are we believing things? There's limited beliefs that come up. There's like ideas, there's other people's opinions about the right way to do this. And like, y'all didn't even want to know the things that people told me as I was writing this book. Like, even when feels weird using myself as a reference, but I'm using myself as a reference. Even if you are a blue-haired mermaid talking about joy, people are going to call you a devil worshiper. People are going to call you crazy. People are going to call you dumb. People are going to tell you that you're leading people astray. Like this is a very specific example, but I just want to say that like, even when you feel you're doing exactly what your soul has called you to do, people are going to tell you very loudly in no unclear words how much they believe that you are going very much down the wrong direction. And so having a clear vision of what you want it, why it's important to you, why your dream is your dream is super helpful. And there's things in here that have like shifted here and there because of feedback I got. And I was like, oh, that's really helpful. And then there's feedback I got that I was like, no, thank you. Thank you. Never been to a red tent, you know? And that was really hard because I had to say that to family. And so I just want to encourage you that just because you have a dream that feels aligned and you're like, yes, this is what I'm called to do, doesn't mean people besides yourself will be on board. And that really sucks. That really sucks, right? And there's going to be people that are hella on board. The Joy Guild, so here for you. We are 100% Meraki momenting you all the way, however we can celebrate you, however we can support you. This is why you need a support system in place. So what do you need to call in to go after your tangible goal that feels big? What do you need to let go of, right? There, back last May, I think June, all that time, I was doing like 10 virtual tents a month, which is wild looking back at it. I'm like, whew. Now I'm doing one, and starting next month, I'm going to be passing that off to somebody else for her to do virtual tents and live her best life and like get new clients, all the good stuff, right? And hold that space and the space that I get to bring in as well, right? Sometimes we have to let go of things, and it can feel scary to be like, oh, this is really great and I love doing this. But like, do you want this or do you want your dream, right? And sometimes it's not that clear cut because it's not an either or, but it's more of, I have to put this aside so I have the energy, so I have the mental capacity to do X. Yeah, does that make sense? So it might be unrelated. Hey, like I love my softball and I love these other classes I'm doing. I love this after school thing I'm volunteering, and I love this other thing I'm volunteering for, but I also really want to start my own business. Okay, you don't get home till 7 p.m., 8 p.m. at night, and you get up at 5. Where's your time to do this? Like if you're sacrificing sleep and your own energy and your own sanity for this, like that's unsustainable. Something's got to give. You got to give a little, not tenderness, but like something else, you know, like it's got to give. Something's got to give. And if it's not something, that's going to be you. It's going to be you. And like in full honesty, once you achieve that dream, you might need even a bigger break after to like breathe after lunch, because it's like a build up and you're like going to doing all the things, like so hard focus. And like, we can only do this for so long before we got to come up for air. I'm about to embark on a 3-month sanctuary months after doing this because I'm wiped. And I'm like really excited to just focus on the Joy Guild and be here and be present and to tend myself. But like, it also feels really scary. Let's say the honest things, right? To not have a big dream that you're going after when people are like, oh, we gotta go fast. We gotta like achieve. Go team, go, blue team. Can we just be, right? Maybe your dream is to have more rest, more sanctuary. Maybe your dream doesn't feel so big, like, oh, I can't, this is going to take years to achieve. Like, Glenn, if this is going to take a couple of years to achieve or a some amount of time, like a book or achievable thing, maybe it's something that you want to weave into your life now that takes more intention, like sanctuary days, right? Or I want to feel more like me again, or I want to cultivate my spiritual life, or, you know, whatever that looks like for you, for whatever you believe. Or I want to cultivate more friendships. I want to find friends. I want to make friends. Okay, what does that look like? What are you calling in? What are you letting go of, right? When I need that time for me, my sanctuary days, Facebook, social media, it's like, okay, hey, like letting this go off my hands. And then heading into the forest and doing time and just taking naps and cleaning the house, right? So it's an exchange of energy, of intention, of time. And sometimes it's really scary because the things we need to let go of are the things that people tell us we're worthy for, or the ways we get validation. And maybe this looks completely different for you. Your examples might be different, and I'm so here for them being different. I'm just trying to give you the best examples I got with the best language I have. Okay. Another option of a goal could be a way you want to show up in your day-to-day. Maybe you want more fun. Maybe you want more wonder, more play, more possibilities, more all the things. This is what these earrings feel like. They feel like more joy, more wonder. On my list is dressing in a way that matches my soul. And some days that looks like super comfy tank tops and leggings with pockets, because like we all want to live our best lives, right? And best lives look like comfort. And also, there are times when I feel most like me is when I have my elf ears on, when I have my wig on, when I've got jingle and like necklaces, and I've got my little dots and my moon, which I forgot to put on my moon today. And I'm like, oh, hey, like there you are. Like I see you when I look in the mirror. So like I can weave that in by little things I wear in my day to day. So maybe it's the way I do my hair, like my bun's just a little extra messy, or I've got like fun earrings, or I've got bracers that make me feel like Wonder Woman, or I've got like a necklace that I don't even know, but it can be little things that you weave in. Like it doesn't have to be antlers. This is a very specific example, but it doesn't have to be like jingle skirts and like full on priestess regalia for me to feel like me more in my everyday. Yeah, you hear me? So like it could look like a 1% change, right? Okay, here we go. If it's like me, human clothes, priestess gear, what's 1% more towards feeling like my whole self, which is maybe here at a 7, right? That's 1% more towards feeling like this today. Is it leggings and a t-shirt? Great. Maybe I put on one of my sparkly boots, or maybe I have like cute lingerie that I'm like, yeah, you know, what's that 1% shift? You know, you want to eat more healthily. Okay, cool. Maybe you still have pizza on Friday nights because pizza is delicious. Okay, 1% more shift might be, hey, in the mornings, we're gonna have yogurt and granola and like chocolate chips, or like a mocha. So you still get chocolate, right? Like the iced mocha, I've been getting them in the carton and it's so good. I think it's the mocha in the carton, iced mocha in the carton is better than the iced mocha at Starbucks. Try it. I'm telling you, it's so good. I'm telling you. So 1% shift in your day-to-day can help you feel more and more closer and aligned to this goal that you want. It doesn't have to be far away. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. When we get in the all or nothing mindset, we're really cutting ourselves off at the knees because we're punishing ourselves for being human. And we're learning something new. It's a new goal. It's gonna take us a minute. Why are we angry with ourselves when we're learning something new? We've never done this before. Or maybe you've tried something similar, but that's a different goal. Or maybe you've tried this before, but that was then and this is now. You have new experience under you. You have different emotions. Maybe back then you had all the freedom in the world because you were in high school and like you had a ton of energy, and now you've got 2 kids and like a job and like things going on, and you're like, okay, can I try out for the local community theater? Do I have the time? Well, this would be cool. Maybe I can learn how to sing again. Maybe I can practice how to sing again. 1% shifts. Just lean into it just a little bit more. Let's give ourselves permission that we have all this play space. We can just flow. We can flow towards our dreams, through our dreams, all of this stuff. Yeah, I just want to give us space to have flex. Does not have to be all or nothing, because that's how we get in trouble and that's how we burn out. Okay, so we can prioritize things, we can pass it off to somebody else, we can delegate, right? There's only so much of us to go around. My video is being weird, so sorry about that. There's only so much of us to go around, so sometimes we have to delegate stuff or just say not now, right? Like meal prep plans, like trading childcare with a friend, being like, hey, you know what, like right now I'm not gonna post as much because I'm gonna do XYZ, or I'm gonna, I don't know, words. So I'm gonna do like the grocery pickup instead of going into pickup, instead of shopping for my own groceries. So I save an hour, right? So sometimes we can delegate things, or like tasks, like getting a VA. Like this year I got a VA and I'm like, this is amazing. And she's amazing. I absolutely adore her. And I'm just like, oh, this is great. Like people want to help us. We just have to ask, and we have to figure out what that looks like, right? Sometimes we have to pay for help. Sometimes we It's volunteer help. Sometimes it's trade for help, like a bargain. Yeah, so just check into it. And sometimes things just stay a possibility for a bit. Sometimes they stay in the vault and it's just like, hey, I see you there. This is just not the right time. And I don't have the mental space for this. And that is okay. If your dream and your goal right now is, hey, I just want to be happier and more comfortable in my body and just like find joy where I'm at. Yes. Yes, babes. This is 100% a good dream. This is valid to seek into and live into and explore. And you know what? That's a lifelong thing that you're going to be doing. Some dreams have timestamps, right? Book, check, done. Is there more I could do? Probably yes, launching thing. But like, wrote a book, published it, check, cross off the list, right? Move into a house, check. Have a baby, check. Get a job, check. Live into what it means to be your favorite self. Somebody said this the other day, and they're like, instead of like your highest self or your best self, what about like favoritist self or just self you adore? And I was like, oh, I love that. I love how much permission is in that to like be your best self, because like, yeah, I do not have the energy to be my best self, but I can like lean into and play with my favoritist self. What would she say? She'd be like, yes, go eat that popcorn and M&Ms, go take a bath, right? Like, let's play with our dreams. Like, I just, this shame guilt game that people do with the goals thing, I'm just 100% not here for. And that's why you're in the joy guild too. Like, let's admit it. We can go after our dreams 10 for 10. Like, and also we're going to have a blast doing it and have glitter with it. That's what we do. So just, all the permission, friend, because you being here, you living the life that you're living, tells me that you are showing up the best you're able. Yeah. So let's give ourselves some grace and some space. Ask yourself, do some free journaling. You know how I feel about free journaling. Wake up in the morning and grab your journal. Like, write it out. What do I need to let go of? And just write. Don't judge, don't edit, just free write. What do I need to call in? Just write. You're going to be so surprised what comes up. I promise if you do that for 7 days straight, you're going to be very surprised by what comes up and what's honest. When you allow this link and this connection, you're going to know. You want to know? Can you tell me? Do your free writing in the morning. You'll see. But spend that time in sacred time or with a friend if you need to just be like, hey, or go live in the Joy Guild and be like, okay, I just need to word process. If you're a verbal processor like me, like, I hear you. I have a business group I'm in, and sometimes I go live and I'm like, just need to talk this out real quick. Let me know if this makes sense, you know, and then by the end of the video, I'm like, okay, here we are. I got it. Okay. You know, we all need this. We all need support. You're not too much. Your dreams are not too much. And they're not too little either. Some people like have these like, oh, we're going to do this. And we're going to like, they see in big picture, and other people are just like, hey, I want this like steady as the beating drum, you know, like there's the stillness, and sometimes there's rushing waters, and sometimes like we're all just water flowing in different ways at different times in our lives. Yeah. Let's play, move, and you have all of the permission to dream in whatever way feels most supportive and loving to. Sing your soul song, drink your water, enjoy your cake, eat your carrots, and have an absolutely marvelous day. And artisan. You're worth taking up space. Just so you know. Talk to you soon.